Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this. Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
Pull it out of your pants, and there you go. You're playing.
Switch on and switch off. Oh, sorry. I'll go back to my hole.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
I'm just so used to barfing right now.
I really don't see Apple ever doing that. I am Adela.
I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing. Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landon.
Hello.
And Caleb.
Hello.
And we are here to talk all things tech this week, which is not a lot, but we're going to make this happen. And as you can tell, we are remote
Yes.
from each other here, so...
Doing our civic duty.
We are trying. We are trying. So hopefully if you enjoyed our podcast last week, well, I would say give all the credit to Landon for putting that together.
I do what I can.
Yeah, he did pretty well. Well, let's go ahead and let's get into this, shall we, guys? I believe I heard there might be some launches going on from Caleb Spenlove over there. Why don't you tell us what those launches are?
Heck yes, I've got a scaled replica of the Saturn V rocket that launched the Apollo missions. I will be launching that at 5:45 tomorrow afternoon. No, I'm just kidding. So...
Yeah, that's what we want.
So, we got an announcement a couple of months ago with AMD's 4000 series processors. Now, listener, let's just take a quick trip down memory lane of AMD's Ryzen family. We had the 1000 series processors and then the 2000 series processors, right? So 1000 is built on the Zen architecture. And then 2000 was built on Zen Plus, and then 3000 launched, and that's built on Zen 2. Okay, so Zen is different than the whatever 1000 series for the processor. So we're on 4000 now, right? So what would you guess? That's Zen 2 plus something, right?
Right.
Eh?
No, they're going to skip the 10.
I'm with you.
It's yes, it's Zen 10. That's it.
X.
In fact, they went to that Zen X. No. 4000 is actually the same as 3000, and I want to make sure that everyone's clear on that. The 4000 series chips are built off of the Zen 2 architecture, the same as the 3000 series chips. What this is just the laptop versions of the desktop Ryzen processors. So, we're not really going to go into a whole ton of detail on this stuff because a lot of the lineup feels very similar. It's just it has a 4 at the front of it instead of a 3. But I do want to mention really quick that the flagship coming out of this is the Ryzen 9 4900HS. Okay? So this thing is a 35-watt processor, which is obviously much lower than the processors, or than the power requirements and heat output of the desktop chips because it's designed for laptops. It's a little bit more efficient, it's a little bit less powerful, but it's still an 8-core, 16-thread chip with a 3.6 gigahertz boost clock on it. So that's the top end of their lineup for now. They're probably trying to push out the 12-core and the 16-core chips at some point, but that may or may not end up happening in the 4000 series. We may end up seeing that in a future version, just because of how difficult it is to get these super powerful processors into a laptop. But that being said, I want to talk about the one laptop that exists for these processors right now, for this one in particular, the 4900HS, and that is the ROG Zephyrus G14. Now, this is a gaming laptop that does ship with a discrete graphics card. It's a 2060 Max-Q, which is the laptop-focused version of the RTX 2060 from NVIDIA. It has, I think the base model is $1,500, like 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte SSD. Comes with 120 hertz 1080p display as an option, so that's kind of cool. And here's the best part. The Ryzen 9 processor in this thing matches or exceeds the i9 9800HK from Intel, which was last generation's, the 9th generation top-end laptop part, even at a massive cooling disadvantage. It stomps all over way more expensive Intel laptops that have this thing, and it gets 10 hours of battery life. So basically what we have here, the 4900HS, is a giant killer. This thing absolutely takes Intel's best, highest end performance laptop chips and eats them for lunch. And it's kind of amazing. So that's the big news with this 4000 series launch. Now, you're not necessarily going to see it everywhere because Intel is very embedded in the marketplace. But I've got to say, right now, if I were to buy a PC laptop, it would be this ROG Zephyrus G14 because, frankly, the thing looks amazing and I'm astonished by the performance. Now, Intel, not to be outdone, because that's like, I don't know. I have a hard time with Intel, listener. You may have noticed
We
over
haven't
the past
noticed.
several months.
Really? I never noticed.
I have bones to pick with them, just like at this point an entire skeleton's worth of bones to pick with Intel. So this past week they also didn't launch anything, to be clear. They have announced their 10th generation high-end laptop chips. Now, to be clear, they have actually already announced and I believe launched some 10th generation laptop chips, but they were the super low powered stuff, like the 10 watt, 15 watt, like really low powered for like ultra thins and thin and light laptops and stuff like that. So what they announced this past week is the super powered stuff, like the high end, like beefy laptop chips, such as the, I hate this name. We've been over this with Intel's 10th generation chips. I hate all of them. The naming is just terrible, but this is the i9-10900 HK.
Yes.
Because they're idiots. So this thing is like the Ryzen 9 that we just talked about. This thing is an 8-core, 16-thread processor. Unlike the Ryzen 9 processor, it doesn't have a Peasley 3.6 gigahertz max clock speed. This thing will single-core turbo, depending on the cooling system in your laptop, up to 5.3 gigahertz stock, which is stupid fast.
Wow.
But here's the thing. It has to, because if it doesn't, it again will get absolutely eaten alive by the 4900HS from AMD. So this thing is a 45 watt chip, which is 10 watts more than AMD's competing processor, and benchmarks that obviously are being provided by Intel because nobody actually has this thing in their hands yet. So massive grain of salt. Benchmarks suggest that it does have a tiny, tiny single core advantage over the R9 4900HS. Single core. Not multi-core, because as soon as it's multi-core, then you load the thing up with heat and all of the clock speeds turbo down. And the Ryzen processor is way more efficient, can turbo up higher for longer because it stays cooler, because it uses less power. And because of all of that, the multi-core, it just blows the Intel chip out of the water, even though they both have 8 cores and 16 threads. So because of this massive 5.3 gigahertz turbo on the Intel chip, it can edge out victories there, but that depends entirely on the cooling solution of of the laptop that the thing is put into. And frankly, I would be surprised if anything other than the most massive, like, gigantic gaming and productivity workstation replacement laptops that really strain the term laptop, because if you were to put it on your lap, it would either break your legs or burn them off. Like, I don't think that there's any way that even this new chip can compete with AMD's chip, because it is still stuck on a 14 nanometer process where AMD is on 7, literally half the distance between nodes, and their dies are just so much more efficient. And it's pretty straightforward to compare this thing. It seems like it will give slight single core performance boosts over the previous generation 9000 series chips from Intel, and we already know how those compare to the AMD 4000 series chips, and it's not good. So yeah, AMD is winning again. It's starting off 2020 with a victory, so good for them. Intel's nightmare is apparently far from over, because Zen is in fact just as good on laptops as it has been on desktops. So there it is.
Wow. I mean, It's awesome. Honestly, it's really good to see because competition and hopefully soon Intel will come back. I don't
Yeah,
know. Like, have we
wouldn't
been
that be lovely?
honestly? What has it been? A year, almost two, that we've been
So
ranting about this?
it's been 2 years since everyone was like, I think it's okay. Personally, it's been a solid 2 years since I was able to look at AMD's launch of the 2000 series Ryzen processors on desktop and go, Intel needs to do something about this. Like, Intel did not fire back with the 1000 series chips, and that didn't necessarily seem like a problem, except in multi-threaded workloads, where the 1000 series chips were, they had twice as many cores and twice as many threads as
Right.
even the most expensive i7 chips from Intel. Intel kind of answered back during, the next year by releasing 6-core i7s and having, their i5s multi-threaded, which
Right.
that was good. Like, that was a good way to answer back, but the same time, AMD improved the single core performance of the 2000 series chips quite a bit over the 1000 series chips. And so it was like, I don't know, this is feeling like if you do anything other than just game on your system, you should probably go with AMD. Because even though, yes, their straight up gaming performance isn't quite as good because their single core performance isn't as strong in their processors, the multi-core performance is just better and it costs less. So it's just better. Just do that.
Yeah.
And then Intel did fire back. At least it seemed like they were firing back. Like, it seemed like it was going to be effective when we went into the 8000 series processors from Intel about a year and a half ago. Year and a half?
Yeah.
When
I
they
think it was
launched the
about it.
desktop variations of that. I think that's right. About a year and a half ago. And those were good. You had your 8-core, 16-thread top-end chip, and it was a little weird that the i7s were not hyper-threaded. It was a little weird that hyper-threading existed only in the very top-end chips, but I mean, that top-end chip did make sense, and it did seem like a really strong contender, but then AMD fired back not long after with the 3000 series chips that have identical single-core score, and you could get 12 cores for less money than 8 cores
Yeah.
on Intel. And then they launched the 16-core chip, which costs the same as the 8-core chip. It has literally twice as much performance in multi-threaded applications and exactly the same performance in single-threaded applications, and is cooler and on a platform that costs less, and it just doesn't make sense to buy Intel anymore. So yes, it was about 2 years ago when I was like, I feel like Intel needs to be doing more. And then over the past 2 years, it's been cemented again and again and again that Intel just was not ready for this and has not done anything substantial to fire back at AMD. I'm hoping that happens this year, but so far we're not really off to a super auspicious start, considering AMD's already trouncing Intel's next chip that hasn't even launched yet. They've barely announced the thing.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Well, good for AMD. I mean, for a while, I remember they weren't the greatest, and now, I mean, they're really bringing a punch. So
no, like it used to be that you only bought AMD chips if you were absolutely just broke and you couldn't afford an Intel chip. It wasn't. There was like the best argument the AMD fanboys could make was, for the money, it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, true.
That was the best argument they could make. And the fact of the matter is that is still an excellent argument for AMD. For the money, it's really good. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's still really good. Why would you spend more on Intel at this point? I don't understand. There are people who are still doing it. I don't get it, but okay, more power to them.
Yeah, I did last year. You were there helping me.
I was. And at the same time, I bought myself a 2600, so,
Yeah, that was pretty funny. You're doing some research, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. I like this. Bye.
This is on sale.
That's awesome. Well, is that everything?
That is all of my tech news, believe it or not.
Well, cool. Well, let's bring it over here to Microsoft's side for a second. Not too much going on in the Microsoft world other than some changes of name. I wanted to kind of bring this up. Microsoft is changing Office 365 and the lettering. It's now going to be Microsoft 365. They're kind of turning it into more of an era for Microsoft 365 on here. So it is the first time that it's going to be available for everyone. So just this week, the software giant introduced its consumer Office 365 offerings. We're also transitioning to this new brand as Microsoft 365 Personal and Microsoft 365 Family. So not a lot is the actual package is changing, just the name. They're just trying to change the branding, make it better, so because there's so many different types of SKUs, if you will, for Office 365, Office 365 Entrepreneur, or not Entrepreneur, bad word, Enterprise. I apologize. You know what? There probably was an Entrepreneur, to be honest. But
there might very well have been.
But there were so many, so now they're just trying to bring it back down to just something a little easier for everybody, which is good. I mean, Microsoft 365, that works, because that'll have all your apps that you need for whether it's Office, whether it's for your terabyte for OneDrive, your cloud storage, your Skype. I think you get like 60 minutes of Skype credit for calling mobile phones and landlines, yada, yada, yada. Kind of all the same things you get, but just better sounding, better option for you instead of having all these different SKUs. So just wanted to bring that out there in case people were like, wait, what's this new thing coming? What's the difference? The difference is the name.
There you go.
On there. So I wanted to bring that up. I do know that they are throwing around trying to tote Microsoft Teams. They're bringing that also to more consumer-oriented features to help individuals further their work and stuff. But because before it was just you have all the pristine features that were in the enterprise editions, and then there was a kind of a free consumer just to be like, here, whatever, mess with it. But now they're going to bring that into it as well. So they're integrating Skype to Teams, and later down I hear Slack into Teams. So,
well, that'll be the day.
Yeah. Right. But anywho, that's kind of what I have on there. Like I said, not a lot is going on, but just wanted to update everybody on that so they weren't being confused on. So if all of a sudden your subscription changes from Office 365 to Microsoft 365, you can be like, oh, well, okay, I understand what's going on. So, all right, let's go ahead and slide over to the table to Landon. Landon, what you got for us today?
All right. So, first off, listener, I have to mention that I have a new toy that provides some fun new features for the podcast, including some sound bites. And I'm going to be using those in my news, so I had to mention that just so you weren't surprised by different things. So the first thing that I want to talk about is actually Apple news. So, listener, I don't know if you've heard of the Dark Sky weather app, but it's a great weather app. It's got, I don't know what data they're using, but it allows you to have basically up to the minute weather information in most areas, and everyone that I know that uses it absolutely loves it. And a lot of different weather apps use its API as well for different things, including the one I use, one called the Carrot weather app. That one is, let's say, not the most kid-friendly weather app.
I was going to say, isn't that the one that swears at you?
It can, yes.
Yeah.
It has different settings of language that it uses, but it is the most funny when you have it set at the highest level. I'll say that. So,
okay, I am intrigued. I have not heard of this. What is this?
It's called Carrot Weather, like spelled like the vegetable carrot.
Okay.
It's great. You ought to download it. It's free.
I'm looking now.
It's just fun. But anyways, so Apple bought Dark Sky, and unfortunately for people like me or anybody that uses Dark Sky, on Android at least, the Android app is going to be going away. And this to me is very unfortunate and sad news, which leads me to my first soundbite. Yeah.
That was good.
I'm
it.
I'm not too happy about it. But I wanted to mention, so in a press release that they announcing this I want to read what they said. And this is where I'm really bugged by this. So, they said, "Our goal has always been to provide the world with the best weather information possible, to help as many people as we can stay dry and safe, and to do so in a way that respects your privacy. There is no better way to accomplish these goals than at Apple. We're thrilled to have the opportunity to reach far more people with far more impact than we ever could alone." And I hear that and I'm like, "Oh, that's fine. That's all good." And then they go on and say that they're getting rid of the Android app and the API is going to be only good until the end of 2021. And when I hear that, the first thing I think of, they sold out, because you can't help as many people as you absolutely want to by getting rid of more than 50% of your install base.
Unless the number of people that do not have their app on iOS is greater than the number of people who do have their app on Android, and their technology is going to get integrated into the built-in weather app, which is what probably 90% of iPhone users use, is just the built-in default weather app.
Right.
And I suspect that's probably what their rationale is that, like, yes, we're losing X number of users on Android because Apple's going to cancel the Android app, but Apple's also going to basically make us the default weather app on iOS, which means we're going to get however many millions of people that is, suddenly they're using our app.
I mean, yes, that is technically true, although they won't be using, I doubt it'll be it won't be named Dark Sky. I'd be surprised if that app is anywhere on iOS by the end of next year. It'll be
right.
iOS 15, the new weather app is going to be using Dark Sky API, basically.
Yep.
And they probably won't even mention that when they announce it. It was like, "Oh, look at our new weather app. It's all much better and whatever, innovative and whatnot." The thing that pisses me off, I mean, I don't care about their app. I don't use their app. I use Carrot Weather app, which uses their API. That's what sucks, because there's like a bunch of different apps that use Dark Sky's API, and that's where they're going to be losing customers. It's not necessarily from their app alone. It's like the API, because that's going away at the end of next year. I mean, yes, Apple is letting them keep using that until the end of next year, but there's no, like, you can't, if you were to make a weather app now, you can't submit to use their API anymore. That's out of the question. So I don't know, that it just bugs me that they did that. Like, the way they worded it, it's like saying we want to help as many people as possible, and then you go and delete your app off of a platform that's has the majority of the market share throughout the world. I don't understand. I mean, I get that, yeah, maybe they're not using your app, but you're not giving them the opportunity anymore. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I'm not a fan.
I don't know. It makes perfect sense to me, but
well, you're an iPhone user. Of course it makes sense to you. It's going to benefit you.
And from what I understand, wasn't the Dark Sky app a paid app?
Their app in particular, yes. But again, the API, I didn't have to pay for Carrot, and most of the other apps that I don't use their API are free weather apps as well. So
how are those apps paying for the...
There's banner
the
ads
access
and stuff on their ads, or on their
And I wonder
apps.
if maybe that was part of the impetus too for them to cancel the API. It was less about what Apple was doing. Well, okay, it probably was a demand that Apple made, but the way that they worded that, where they're like, help as many people as possible get the most accurate weather information as possible while respecting their privacy. And I'll bet it's that statement that they would lean on for canceling the API if they were to be confronted about it, just because if somebody is giving you ads via free weather app, then they're tracking your usage of the app such that they can feed you ads and stuff like that. So, maybe that's their rationale for that particular line being in there. And then for canceling the API, and then because obviously they're not going to be serving up ads inside of the built-in weather app on iPhone. So
right. Either way, it bugs me because I liked their API. I've heard their app is phenomenal. And like, the one thing I've heard about their app is that the user interface is super handy, and I highly doubt that Apple is going to be updating their user interface on their weather app to be the way Dark Skies is. They might, but they
I
try to
don't
make it.
know.
They try to make their stuff as not, for lack of a better term, dumbed down. Basically, make it so it's easy for anybody to use and understand. And the Dark Sky app, for what I understand, is like very detailed and not necessarily what you just want to go in that anybody's going to understand right away. It takes probably takes a minute to totally understand. I don't know for sure, but from what I understand, it is really
their last
detailed.
update to the Reminders app was actually a pretty significant downgrade in terms of like upfront usability.
Ooh.
It's much more complicated from a UI perspective than it used to be, but they added a ton of features into it and made it a heck of a lot more useful. So, they will go that direction in the interest of features sometimes, but only sometimes. So, who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Either way, I wasn't too happy when I heard it. Again, it's not something I use all the time, because if I'm just wanting something quick to look at weather, I look at the Google Weather app or something like that. But for details and whatnot, I look at Carrot Weather because I know it's got really good detail because it uses the Dark Sky API. So,
Well, see,
yeah.
now I'm just really excited about how much better my weather app is going to be here in the next year or two.
The iPhone weather app is going to be much better than it used to be. I'll give you that.
Good news.
Yeah. Which
Aw.
I guess
that's all I'm hearing.
I guess
Good
would
news.
be a potential reason for me to switch to an iPhone. I don't know.
Hey.
No, weather would not be the reason I switched to iPhone. There's definitely better
There's
reasons
other
for
reasons.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Google, buy it from them. Come on. No, just kidding. Now, some Google news that I have. So a while ago, I mentioned that Google was making these new things called rules for certain things, like when you get to connect to a certain Wi-Fi or go to a certain location, it does certain things. I mentioned that a while ago. I've implemented a few things, only 2 really. So I set it up so when I get to my work, that my phone automatically will turn on to vibrate instead of ring. And then when I get home, it switches back to ring instead of vibrate. And normally I've just gotten into the habit of doing this manually, so I kind of forgot that I had done that. And then this past couple weeks, one time I forgot to do that manually, and I got to work, and then I got a notification saying it automatically switched to vibrate. I'm like, oh, well, look at that. It's working. So that was kind of neat. So, listener, if you haven't set up any of these things because you were skeptical, they do work. There's not a ton of options yet, but what options there are, they work, and I was pleased.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. Last little bit of, I guess, kind of sad news. I don't know who's this is going to be sad for, but Google has stopped selling the Pixel 3 and 3 XL, the year-and-a-half-old model that I have.
Mm.
Basically, what this means is, oh, yeah, we ran out of stock, so we're done selling it. We finally ran out of stock.
Sense.
That's what this means, because they've had the 4 for 6 months now, and the only reason you would buy the 3 or 3XL is because you want a somewhat cheaper version. I don't know. At that point, buy the 3A, not the...
Yeah.
I don't know. That's me, but whatever floats your boat, I guess. But not anymore, it's not going to be the 3 or 3XL. So if you're looking for a Pixel, either wait for the 4A to come out, because that's going to be coming out shortly, we're rumored to believe, and then, or just get the 4 or 4XL, because it's still a good phone. It's just a little more expensive, I guess. I don't know. Buy it on sale. It usually is.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all my Google news. I have a little bit of general tech that I want to talk about. Amazon is reportedly going to be delaying their Prime Day sale from their normal middle of July timeframe to at the earliest, potentially August. So that's obviously because of the COVID-19 stuff that's going on. Their warehouses are completely slammed right now with certain things, and they're not even shipping, like Prime shipping, most things that aren't considered essential products, which, funny enough, their products are all considered essential, which is interesting.
Of course.
But,
Of course.
Yeah. So that is, again, they haven't said anything officially about this, but I would be surprised if it still happens in the middle of July like it normally does. But just keep that in mind if you're looking forward to that day to buy things that are on sale. You still can. It's still going to happen. It just may be a little later in the year. And that's fine.
It just might end up also being the Black Friday sale, so you know.
Yeah, they can't get away with the Black Friday in July anymore because it won't be in July, and it might not be until Black Friday. Who knows?
That would be hilarious. Black Friday in November. Yeah.
Prime Day is now a week before Black Friday. Oh. Oof. But what?
Yes. But why?
I don't know. But that's all my news for this week.
Well, awesome. Well, yes, I do have some gaming news, and I'm going to assume Spenlove has some gaming news.
I mean, kind of.
Bottom of the barrel, I guess, right?
Yeah, a bit. It's a bit.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll start it off a little bit. The head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, he has been going around to some news outlets. The one that's the most prominent one that he went to was IGN, and talked about the Xbox Series X. No real definite news coming from this hour-long interview. I watched it. Yes, I did.
Time well spent.
Yes, time well spent. Just kind of more just like, things that he can say and can't say, but just what everyone knows. There's nothing really big other than, yes, we're still looking at our holiday release for the hardware. It's very possible that the software that might have been that is wanting to be released with it might not be released with it, but the hardware should be there. Now, the software I was talking about was Halo Infinite, so a lot of people are worried about that.
Dang it!
So.
Oh wait, I still have like 7 Halo games to play before I caught up.
I was going to say,
I don't care.
You got to get on that Master Chief collection there, buddy.
They haven't released most of it for PC. I'd be able to play Halo 1, which I've already played, and then Halo Reach, and I know how that one ends. Spoiler alert, everyone dies.
Well, yeah, but it's fun. When you do want to play that, let me know. That would be a good streaming one.
I've played like 10 minutes of it, I think.
It was on Steam, right?
No. It is on Steam. I do not have it through Steam because I would have to pay for it if I wanted it through Steam.
Ah, that's right.
Whereas if I just get it off of the Games Pass, then it's free.
True. Anyway, so it's actually not a bad interview. I mean, they talk about certain things, but overall, I mean, he's happy for where the Xbox Series X lands with the new news of the PS5. He's happy that the decisions they made for it is what he was saying, and that an interesting note is the xCloud is going to be a part of this next generation for Game Pass and things, which makes sense. So if you're trying to test out a game, that's where xCloud can come in. Before you download it, you can just try it on the console. Just start it up and go. Even while it's downloading for a local version for you while you're playing. So I thought that was pretty cool that they're going to integrate that. But that's also if you have good internet bandwidth. So, listener beware. If you do not have very good internet, that probably won't be the best for you. Or data cap.
Yeah.
Because not only are you streaming 1080p, possibly 4K, you're wanting to download a game, which games nowadays are what? Almost 100 gigs?
Oh, yeah, easily.
So
I mean, especially if you consider that, previous generation console games, like, sure, 4K 60 FPS on the high end, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, but not really. And the texture packs were not really. It was more like upscaling than it was true 4K. But with the next generation, they're actually reasonably powerful gaming PCs. These things, they're equivalent to a $500 to $600, $700 gaming PC, assuming you don't count the cost of peripherals or anything into that. Right. And yeah, like those things will run AAA games at 4K 60 most of the time. And so, yeah, they're gonna be huge games. Like the texture packs are gonna Yeah, there you go. Oh, gosh.
Yep.
Have fun. Have
So
fun.
just
Welcome.
Just be aware.
Welcome
of
to my life.
that. Right.
All you console gamers, welcome to the PC world. We've been waiting for you.
Yes. So that was kind of the big on that for that interview. Like I said, you can go to IGN.com, or if you just type in Phil Spencer at YouTube interview at IGN, you'll get it there if you want to review it there. So, but nothing really else is happening. It is definitely slow time for gaming and tech, and well, it probably wouldn't have been for gaming, but everything's kind of getting canceled, slowly trickled out for things that would have been announced.
Yep.
So just keep an eye out for some more news that's happening. I mean, it's all this COVID-19 is really disrupting a lot of things.
Yes, it is.
So, all right, Spenlove, what do you got for us?
Well, among things that the virus has disrupted, one of them I did not expect it to disrupt, that it evidently did, was April Fool's Day. Yes, listener.
Oh, yeah.
We passed April Fool's Day. Did you even notice? Did anyone even notice? It kind of feels more like the universe was playing a giant April Fool's joke on all of us. And that's what it was, except it's been more than a day, and the universe really needs to get its prank game in line, right? Like, this is no longer okay. So the only April Fool's jokes April Fool's jokes in giant quotation marks that I came across that I felt were worth mentioning. There's one that is so topical and must have come together so fast that I'm seriously impressed, and I feel like just for that it deserves to be mentioned. And the other one is like the nice little piece of whimsy that I think we all need in our lives right now.
Okay.
So let's talk about the topical one first, because we'll leave the whimsy for the high note that we can end on. Grand Theft Auto 5 on April 1st, and actually running through, I believe, the 7th, they introduced a Grand Theft Auto Online quarantine content pack. Now, like I said, this had to have come together really fast. Like, I mean, a matter of weeks for this to get launched. But basically what it is they have taken GTA Online, which is normally, listener, in case you're not aware of what the Grand Theft Auto series is, I'm not going to try and explain the whole thing. But Grand Theft Auto Online is a massively multiplayer online third-person shooter where you have a whole bunch of people in a persistent world that is full of NPCs, and they've basically recreated the entirety of the city of Los Angeles and its surroundings as a fictionalized city called something that I can't remember.
No idea. Anyway.
Anyways, so that's what it is. It's a big city, and you can go in there. You do basically like you're a degenerate type stuff, running around murdering people and heisting banks and stuff like that. But the quarantine content pack introduced quarantine to the game, such that all of the NPCs are gone. And in order to encourage social distancing, if you are within 6 feet of another player for more than a couple of seconds, you will start taking damage until you die.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which means that you have to be careful about going into places like stores or something like that, because if there's more than a certain number of people in the store, then you can't get far enough apart from each other in order to social distance appropriately. And so you will die. So that was Grand Theft Auto. Like I said, I'm just mad props to them for throwing this together over just a couple of weeks, while most of their development team was probably in quarantine themselves. So, like, good job.
That's pretty good. I did not hear about that one. That one was good.
Yeah. And the other one, the whimsy, right? So that was the topical one. Now we've got whimsy on April 1st globally. So it started a little bit early for those of us that are closer to the end of the time zone rotation, and started before the 1st for people who were at the front end in Asia. They launched googly eyes for all of their character models, which is even better than you're picturing. It's basically just two giant googly eyes sitting in front of the eyes for all the character models in the game. Now, it was in game, right? So like while you were playing, you could see this in the character select screen. you could see this. You could obviously see it in like the hero gallery and stuff like that. But it was also like in the highlight reels and in the clips and stuff like that. Like all of that had just the googly eyes on every character in the entire game, including stuff like Torbjorn's turret had googly eyes on the front. Bastion does not have eyes, but he did for April 1st. And the dragon, Hanzo's dragon.
Oh,
stripe
jeez.
with these giant white googly eyes on it. The best part of them is that they're true googly eyes, and so they're responding to the physics engine in the game. So if you're spinning around or something, like it's Reaper doing a Death Blossom, then the eyes are just sitting there, like the pupils are sitting there spinning around inside the googly eyes. And it's just so goofy and so hysterical, and I loved it.
I bet there's a YouTube video or two of it. So
I'm sure. I actually found out about it the day before on the 31st, because I was like, toward the end of the day, I was watching a Twitch streamer who plays Overwatch. But she is based in England or something. So she's like 8 hours ahead of us. And so it kicked off for her, like obviously hours before it showed up for us over here. And it was just like literally a solid 15 minutes of the stream was just her sitting in the hero gallery, opening up a new character, spinning them around, and then laughing at the googly eyes, because they're just goofy and they look hilarious. And yeah, if you did not get a chance to see those, go look up the Overwatch April Fool's Day prank on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find some compilations.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I did not know about that.
It's pretty great.
Googly eyes. Awesome. Well, is that everything?
That's it.
How about you, Landon? You got one more thing?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, dear listener, thank you for listening again. Thank you for joining us in our quarantine and our remote podcast. But anyway, if you want to get a hold of us... We hope you're
surviving. We hope your mental health is intact.
Yes,
Good luck.
But, dear listener, if you want to get a hold of us, you can always find us at our website or social media. Also on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.